You know the feeling. It's the most confusing, frustrating dynamic in human social interaction. You watch a certain type of person walk into a crowded room. They aren't the loudest person there. They aren't aggressive. They aren't performing for attention. They simply exist. They occupy space. And yet, there is an invisible field around them that commands instant respect. Nobody interrupts them. Nobody makes them the butt of the joke. When they speak, the room tilts slightly in their direction. Then, there's the other person. Maybe this person is you. This person walks into the same room with the same people, perhaps wearing similar clothes and holding a similar job, but the treatment is polar opposite. They get interrupted constantly. Plans are canceled on them at the last minute with barely an apology. They are the target of friendly teasing that feels suspiciously like bullying. They smile through it, terrified of making a scene, but inside, they feel invisible. They feel like a ghost in their own life. I know this dynamic intimately because I spent years living as that second person. I was the doormat. I was the nice guy who finished last. I felt like a background character in everyone else's movie. I would be in the middle of telling a story, and someone would just start talking over me, and the group would turn away. I would hold the door for people who wouldn't even look at me. I would agree to do favors for people who wouldn't answer my texts. I thought the problem was that I wasn't trying hard enough. I thought I needed to be funnier, louder, or more accomplished. I thought respect was something you had to buy with kindness or earn with achievements. I was wrong. Everything changed when I discovered that respect isn't about what you start doing, it's about what you stop doing. I realized I was subconsciously broadcasting signals, tiny, invisible frequencies that told the world, I am low status. You can treat me badly. I won't fight back. I identified 4 specific behaviors that were ruining my life. These were the behaviors that made me a target for disrespect. Once I stopped them, just stopped them, without becoming a jerk or a tyrant, the dynamic flipped. It happened faster than I could have imagined. The same people who used to walk all over me started seeking my validation. They stopped interacting. They started showing up on time. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what those 4 behaviors are. We are going to move from the easiest changes to the most psychologically difficult, but ultimately most powerful shift. These aren't generic tips like stand up straight or make eye contact. These are psychological maneuvers that alter the power dynamic of any relationship immediately. If you've ever felt like the second person in the room, you're not alone. Subscribe so you don't miss the next part. And tell me in the comments, have you experienced this? Yes or no? Signal number 1. The first signal is the most common and easiest to fix, yet it is the primary reason people lose respect in the heat of the moment, the trap of the big reaction. Here's the scenario. Someone disrespects you. Maybe it's a passive-aggressive comment, a blatant insult, or a joke at your expense. What does the average person do? They react, and they react big. They get defensive, they get angry, they start explaining why the joke wasn't funny, they raise their voice, they try to insult the person back. In your mind, you think you're standing up for yourself. You think, I'm showing them they can't mess with me. But in reality, you are doing the exact opposite. When you react big, you are sending a clear signal that they have power over you. You are showing that person that they have the ability to disrupt your emotional state. You are proving that their opinion matters deeply to you. Bullies, toxic coworkers, and disrespectful friends are essentially energy vampires. They feed on reaction. If they poke you and you explode, you have just given them a feast. You have taught them exactly where your buttons are, and you can guarantee they will push them again. So here is exactly what you do instead. It is a move of terrifying simplicity. When someone disrespects you, you do not get angry. You do not laugh it off awkwardly. You catch the disrespect. You look at them calmly and you say one sentence. That was disrespectful. Or perhaps just, that was rude. And then, and this is the most important part, you stop talking. You do not explain why it was disrespectful. You do not ask for an apology. You do not yell. You say the words and then you let silence do the heavy lifting. This works because it breaks the expected social script. The disrespecter expects you to either cower in submission or explode in aggression. When you simply name their behavior like you're reading a menu, you strip the interaction of its emotional fuel. I had a friend who used to constantly belittle my job. We'd be out with a group and he'd say, "Oh, look, the burger flipper is here," or make some crack about my income. For years, I laughed. I tried to come up with witty comebacks. It never worked. It just made me look desperate. One day, after discovering this principle, he made the joke.
I didn't smile. I didn't look away. I looked him in the eye and said, "That's a disrespectful thing to say." I held his gaze. The silence that followed was agonizing. The whole group went quiet. He tried to stammer, "Whoa, just a joke, man." I didn't say, "It's not funny." I just stayed silent, looking at him. He looked down. He apologized, and he never, ever did it again. By removing the emotion, you act like a judge, not a victim. A judge doesn't scream at the defendant. A judge simply states the verdict. Be the judge.
Now that you've handled direct conflict, we need to talk about how you are devaluing your greatest asset, your time. This is the availability paradox. We live in an era of instant gratification. We have phones in our pockets that buzz every time someone wants our attention. The problem is that many of us have been conditioned to believe that being a good person or a hard worker means answering that buzz immediately. You text back in 30 seconds. You pick up the phone on the first ring. If someone asks, "Are you free Saturday?" you say yes, before asking what it's for. You think you are being helpful. You think you are being reliable. But the signal you are sending is, "My time has no value. I have nothing going on. I am sitting here waiting for you." Think about the concept of supply and demand. It is the fundamental law of economics. If you have an unlimited supply of something, the value drops to zero. If you are always available, your presence is cheap. Think about a high-end doctor or a top-tier consultant. You call their office and you don't get them on the phone. You get a receptionist. You are told the next opening is in 3 weeks. You wait in the waiting room. They don't wait for you. And what happens? You respect them. You value the 15 minutes you get with them because you know it is scarce. Now compare that to the person who answers every text instantly at 11 p.m. Do you respect their time? No, because they are treating their own time like garbage, so you follow their lead. You need to stop being instantly accessible. This isn't about playing hard to get in a manipulative way. It's about actually having a life that you prioritize over the whims of others. Unless it is an emergency, do not answer texts immediately. Wait an hour. Wait 3 hours. Wait until you are actually done with the task you are currently doing. Train people to understand that you are not on standby. When someone asks you to do something, even if you know you are free, never say yes instantly. The automatic answer should be, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." This does 2 things. It prevents you from committing to things you don't want to do, and it subconsciously signals that your calendar is a serious document that must be consulted. And when the phone rings, you do not have to answer just because it rings. If you are busy, let it go to voicemail. Call back when you are ready to have a conversation. I used to be terrified that if I didn't answer immediately, people would stop liking me. I thought they would get annoyed and leave. What actually happened was that people started asking, "Do you have time to talk?" instead of just launching into their problems. They started saying, "Thank you for making time for me." By guarding my time, I increased its value. Your time is the only non-renewable resource you have. If you give it away for free to everyone who asks, you will end up bankrupt. This brings us to the third behavior, and this one is the most dangerous because it compounds over time: the tolerance of broken boundaries. Most of us are conflict averse. We want things to be smooth. So when a friend shows up 45 minutes late, we say, "It's okay." When a coworker takes credit for our idea in a meeting, we stay silent to avoid looking petty. When a family member makes a snide comment about our weight or our relationship, we change the subject. We tell ourselves we are being the bigger person. But we aren't. We are being trained. Every time you allow someone to cross a boundary without a consequence, you are validating that behavior. You are signing a contract that says, "This is an acceptable way to treat me." If you let a friend cancel on you last minute 3 times in a row, you have taught them that your time is disposable. If you let your boss speak to you with disrespect, you have taught them you will absorb their stress. The signal you are sending is, "I will take whatever you give me because I am afraid of losing you." You must stop accepting bad treatment the moment it happens, not a week later, not in a passive-aggressive text, right now. This requires courage, but it is the only way to build self-respect. If a friend cancels plans at the last minute for the 3rd time, don't say, "No worries." Say,
Hey, I understand things come up, but this is the third time you've canceled last minute. I value our friendship, but I also value my time. I can't keep holding space if you're not going to show up. If a coworker tries to take credit for your work, call it out right there. Interrupt them calmly and say, "Actually, to be clear, I developed that strategy last week, and I'm glad you agree it's the right move." If a relative makes a rude comment, don't do the awkward laugh. Say, "I don't like when you speak to me that way. Please stop." Notice the tone. It is not screaming, it is not aggressive, it is corrective. Many people fear that if they do this, everyone will leave them. And here's the brutal truth. Some people might. The people who only liked you because you were a doormat, they will leave. The people who benefited from your lack of boundaries, they will be upset. Let them go. You are clearing space for people who respect you. You are teaching the people who stay how to love you properly. You cannot have respect without boundaries. It is impossible.
We have arrived at the final behavior. This is the hardest one to break because it is deeply rooted in our sense of self-worth. It is the behavior that screams insecurity louder than anything else, the need to prove yourself. It is the urge to justify, argue, defend, and explain. Most people walk through life feeling like they are on trial. They feel they need to prove they are good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough. When someone questions their decision, they don't just give an answer, they give a dissertation. Someone asks, "Why did you buy that car?" And you respond with, "Well, I looked at the gas mileage, and really it was a good deal, and my old car was breaking down, and I calculated the monthly payments." Someone asks, "Why are you breaking up with him?" And you say, "Well, he did this, and I felt this, and my mom thinks." When you over-explain, you are sending a massive signal. I do not trust my own judgment. Please validate me. Please tell me I did the right thing. People who command respect do not ask for permission to exist. They do not submit their life choices to a jury of their peers for approval. Watch a CEO. Watch a confident leader. When they make a decision, they state it. "I've decided we are going in this direction," or "I'm comfortable with this choice." They don't offer 10 minutes of excuses. They know that their decision is valid simply because they made it. You need to stop trying to prove you are worthy of respect. You need to assume you already have it. This means you stop defending your choices to people who don't matter. You stop listing your achievements when someone doubts you. When you over-explain, you dilute your power. As the saying goes, friends don't need an explanation and enemies won't believe it anyway. So the next time someone questions a decision you made at work or in your personal life, don't launch into the why. Simply say, "This works for me," or "I'm confident this is the right move." If someone questions your qualifications or your ability, do not list your resume. Do not brag. Just smile and say, "I know what I'm doing," and then go do it. There is a profound power in brevity. When you say less, your words weigh more. When I stopped explaining myself, I felt a massive weight lift off my shoulders. I realized I had spent my whole life acting like a defendant in a courtroom, begging the world to find me not guilty. When you stop defending, you step out of the witness box and onto the judge's bench. You own your reality. You own your choices. And because you believe in them, other people start to believe in them too. Confidence is contagious. If you act like you don't need to prove yourself, people assume you have nothing to prove. Here's the secret that nobody tells you about self-improvement. You don't need to add anything to who you are to be respected. You don't need to learn a magic phrase. You don't need to become a millionaire. You don't need to get six-pack abs. You are already worthy of respect. You, right now, as you are. The problem is not a lack of value. The problem is that you are burying your value under these weak behaviors. You are actively convincing people not to respect you. We are going to change that, but we aren't going to try to do it all at once. That leads to burnout. We are going to use the subtraction mindset. Here is your mission. Pick one of these 4 signals to stop today. Just one. Maybe you choose signal number 2. For the next 24 hours, you will not text anyone back immediately. You will make people wait. You will see how it feels to prioritize your own schedule. Or maybe you choose signal number 1. The next time someone makes a joke at your expense, you will not smile. You will say, "That was disrespectful," and you will sit in the silence. Watch what happens.
Watch the look on their faces. It will be a look of confusion, followed quickly by a look of recalibration. They are recalculating your value in real time. Once you master one, move to the next. In 1 week, you will feel different. You will walk taller. In 1 month, your relationships will look completely different. The parasites will fall away, and the people who respect strength will draw closer. In 3 months, you won't recognize the person you used to be. You will walk into that room. You won't be yelling. You won't be fighting. You will just exist. But this time, when you speak, everyone will listen. This time, nobody will mess with you because you finally stopped giving them permission to. Stop waiting for someone to give you a badge of honor. Stop waiting for permission to be the leader of your own life. You have the tools. You know the moves. The only question left is, are you brave enough to stop?